Okay, Salvador Serrano here with SocialTechPop, and I'm fortunate to have one of today's winners, Allen Kim, college entrepreneur from where?
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yes, go blue.
Go blue.
Well, I want us to talk a little bit and tell our audience out there a little bit more about your product. It's very innovative. It's definitely one of the winners here today that I find remarkable. And actually, if you can just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, Sal. Well, when I first looked at baby clothes, which kind of doesn't really fit my age group, but thanks to my aunt, I started really looking into how much waste there is being produced in terms of baby clothes, and I quickly realized that babies between 0 to 3 grow out of their clothes almost every 2 months, if not sooner, and all the clothes that moms are spending literally almost go to waste, or they just kind of throw it away. And I thought to myself that this is the 21st century, and there's a lot of information and technology developed, and there has to be a smarter way for parents to either utilize these items. And I thought to myself, why not parents can borrow and rent out these baby clothes that are premium designer or really nicer ones that is durable and long lasting, so that they don't have to spend their dollars and cents in purchasing baby clothes themselves. And overall, I thought this could be a sustainable business model that promotes less waste and a green driven business.
Absolutely, and this is definitely almost the age if I were talking about change and actually doing good for society. Talk about a little how the business model came about. I know you mentioned it was mentioned about Netflix, and how did you come to that conclusion if that's going to be probably the best scalable business model for you?
Yeah, so obviously, really, it was kind of like a one-day enlightenment, right? One day I'm just kind of thinking about, okay, there's this huge problem with baby clothes, and how can you efficiently, increase the utilization of these items? And then the next day, I'm like, oh, I have a Netflix envelope sitting right in front of my desk because I'm such an avid Netflix user, and I'm thinking, this could work. Yeah. So I thought, okay, Netflix for baby clothes, and 4 words, and it just basically transpired, and kind of the entire business model just came about just like that. And it got me going after I kind of went to a Silicon Valley area, sponsored by the University of Michigan, and then kind of pitched this idea to a lot of different investors and venture capitalists. And they really liked the idea that this baby apparel industry is a huge industry, and there's a lot of inefficiency in terms of baby clothes, and there's not that many company that drives the sustainability aspect and also a family-driven business. So that's where I decided to go full force with it.
I was very moved with some of the things that you said up there, and I know you started to choke up a little with talking about your experiences and also your family being kind of the inspiration of when, like you said, your aunt, but also your family moving to this country. And as someone who's also a family of immigrants, what is something that you can take away from this, or at least give our audience about those that don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that are afraid to make that next step? Because I know you talked a lot about these challenges and how there's definitely going to be more challenges along the way, but
yeah, absolutely. So my parents and my family members kind of moved to the United States when I was freshman in high school, and my dad had a PhD a degree back in Korea, and he was willing to start up a laundry service here and kind of start from scratch. So my parents continually stressed and addressed me that United States is a land of opportunity, and you should always try to pursue, what you dream of. And to me, that was really something, really a strong bondage about, entrepreneurship, and something, creating a value and impacting this world and making a real difference. So, obviously for me, being part of, a company like Bebarang is such a passionate and exciting opportunity for me, because not just about I always I love saying this, but it's not just about revenue. It's not just about how fast you can grow, but it's being part of something that's bigger than myself, being part of something that can actually make an impact and hopefully change the way parents clothe their kids in the future and make this world a little bit more a sustainable place.
Absolutely. I think those are great, powerful words to take from this conference, because out of all the winners, whether it be Daniel, yourself, or Derek, there was this universal theme that we find always in this willing to change the world, right, through what we call innovation, being those agents of change, of wanting to do good. Do you see that just probably within our entrepreneur community, or do you see that in society as a whole, and that they just have to collectively probably find that on their own?
So I think, before this interview, Sal, I mean, I think we talked a really important part here. I think, during the 20th century, I mean, it was a lot about, consumerism and kind of a lot of, spending. But now, people are kind of looking back on kind of a shift. And I think there's a lot of potential here in terms of how to make this world a little bit more of a sustainable place and how to drive innovation. And I think, back in the industrial era, a lot of people talked about manufacturing and a lot of people talked about industrialization. And if people weren't following that trend, people were lagging and they fell behind. And I think right now is a time where people are slowly starting to think that innovation and sustainability is that next key word. So I wholeheartedly believe that this is not just about how to make money and just about entrepreneurship, but the healthcare system or the education system or just all across industries that are going to focus on how to make this place a little bit of a better place in terms of more innovation and sustainability. And I think absolutely, if people are not going to follow this trend right now, people will regret later.
Absolutely. Some profound words here from the conference. Great advice. Again, thank you. I don't want to take you any more of your time, and go blue.
Thanks a lot.
Sal Serrano again with Social Tech Pop.